When stars don't behave like stars. Elena Rodriguez pressed her eye against the telescope's eyepiece, her breath creating tiny clouds in the cold observation dome of Mars Research Station Kepler. The red planet's thin atmosphere offered perfect viewing conditions, and tonight promised to be exceptional. The 16-year-old had spent every free moment of the past 3 months in this dome. Ever since her parents had been assigned to the terraforming project below, the star cluster Messier 47 hung in the Martian sky like scattered diamonds on black velvet. Elena had been tracking its position for weeks, creating detailed maps of its stellar composition for her advanced astronomy project. But tonight, something was wrong. Terribly wrong. She adjusted the telescope's focus and checked her coordinates. Again, 3 stars that should have been burning bright blue-white were now dim amber specks. More concerning, 2 stars that had been absent from her previous observations now blazed prominently in positions that defied every stellar formation model she knew. "That's impossible," Elena whispered, pulling up her digital star charts on the tablet beside her. Stars didn't just move positions overnight. They certainly didn't change color or brightness so dramatically. She spent the next hour double-checking her equipment, calibrating the telescope, and reviewing her previous observations. The evidence was undeniable. 12 stars in the cluster had altered their positions, brightness, or spectral signatures since her last observation session 3 days ago. Elena's hands trembled as she began photographing the anomaly from every possible angle by morning. Elena had compiled a comprehensive report with detailed photographs, spectral analyses, and movement calculations. She burst into the station's main laboratory where her mother, Dr. Carmen Rodriguez, was examining soil samples from the latest drilling expedition. "Mum, you need to see this immediately," Elena said, spreading her data across the lab bench. "Something incredible is happening in Messier 47. The stars are moving and changing in ways that shouldn't be possible." Dr. Rodriguez looked up from her microscope with the patient expression she reserved for her daughter's more enthusiastic discoveries. "Elena, stars don't just move around like marbles on a table. You're probably dealing with atmospheric interference or equipment calibration issues." "No, Mum, listen to me. I've triple-checked everything. Look at these photographs." Elena pulled up side-by-side images on her tablet. "This is the same region of space, taken 3 days apart. See how these stars have completely changed position. And look at this spectral analysis. These readings are impossible for normal stellar objects." Dr. Rodriguez examined the data more carefully, her scientific curiosity overriding her maternal skepticism. The readings were indeed unusual, but there had to be a rational explanation. "Elena, I think you're seeing equipment malfunction. The telescope's tracking system might be off, or there could be interference from the communication arrays." "It's not equipment failure," Elena insisted. "I've used 3 different telescopes and confirmed the readings with the station's main observatory computer. Something is artificially manipulating these stellar objects, or they're not stars at all." The conversation attracted the attention of other station personnel. Dr. James Fletcher, the station's chief astronomer, joined them at the lab bench. He examined Elena's data with professional interest, nodding appreciatively at the thoroughness of her documentation. "This is excellent work, Elena. Really impressive for someone your age," Dr. Fletcher said. "But I'm afraid you're dealing with a combination of factors that create false readings. Atmospheric distortion, equipment, drift, and maybe some debris in the telescope's optical path. It happens more often than you'd think." Elena felt her frustration building. These adults were so quick to dismiss what they couldn't immediately explain. Dr. Fletcher, with respect, I've accounted for all those variables. Look at the mathematical precision of these movements. Natural phenomena create random patterns. This is too organized, too deliberate. Alina, her mother said gently, you're starting to sound like those conspiracy theorists who see alien ships in every unusual photograph. Sometimes the simplest explanation is the correct one. The dismissal stung more than Alina cared to admit. She gathered her data and left the laboratory, determined to prove her observations were accurate. If the adults wouldn't listen to reason, she would have to gather evidence they couldn't ignore. That evening, Alina returned to the observation dome with renewed determination. She activated the station's most powerful deep space telescope, an instrument typically reserved for official research projects. Her access codes, borrowed from her mother's account, granted her unprecedented viewing capability. What she saw through that advanced instrument changed everything. The stars of Messier 47 weren't stars at all. They were massive geometric objects, each one larger than Earth's moon, arranged in precise formation. Their surfaces reflected and refracted starlight to create the illusion of distant suns. But Elena's enhanced viewing revealed the truth. These were artificial constructs, ships beyond human engineering capability. Elena's heart hammered against her ribs as she realized the implications. An alien fleet, vast beyond imagination, had positioned itself in what appeared to be empty space. They were using advanced camouflage technology to hide in plain sight, disguised as a harmless star cluster that no one would think to examine closely. She spent the next 4 hours documenting everything: ship configurations, energy signatures, movement patterns, and most significantly, the sophisticated light-bending technology that created their stellar camouflage. Alina estimated the fleet contained at least 40 vessels, each one dwarfing humanity's largest space stations. As dawn approached on Mars, Alina made a discovery that sent ice through her veins. She detected a narrow-beam communication, signal originating from the fleet and directed toward Earth. The signal was encrypted, but Alina recognized the targeting coordinates. It was aimed specifically at the United Nations headquarters in Geneva. The aliens weren't just hiding. They were communicating with Earth's government. Alina quickly configured the station's communication array to intercept the transmission. Her knowledge of advanced mathematics and cryptography, skills she'd developed during years of independent study, proved invaluable. The alien signal used mathematical constants as encryption keys, principles that any scientifically advanced civilization would understand. The decoded message was brief, elegant, and terrifying. Phase 1 observation period complete. Human species demonstrates adequate technological development but limited awareness protocols. Recommend Phase 2 contact initiation with selected governmental entities. Maintain camouflage protocols until formal disclosure authorization received. Note: 1 human observer has achieved detection. Monitor but do not interfere unless direct threat to operational security. Alina stared at the translated message until her eyes burned. They knew she had found them. More shocking still, Earth's leaders were apparently already in contact with this alien fleet. Humanity's first contact with extraterrestrial intelligence wasn't a future possibility. It was happening right now, in secret, without the knowledge of ordinary people. She quickly copied all her data to multiple storage devices, her mind racing through the implications. How long had this communication been occurring? What agreements had been made? Why the secrecy? Elena's tablet chimed with an incoming message through the station's internal communication system. Her blood turned cold as she read the sender identification, unknown external source. The message appeared in perfect English. Elena Rodriguez, age 16, Mars Research Station, Kepler. Your observational capabilities exceed our initial assessment of human awareness protocols. Do not be afraid. You have demonstrated the curiosity and persistence your species will need for what comes next. We have been waiting for someone like you. Elena's hands shook as she read the message again. The aliens had been monitoring her specifically. They knew her name, her age, her location. But rather than seeming threatening, the message carried an almost approving tone, as if she had passed some kind of test. A second message appeared. Your species shows promise. Elena Rodriguez. We have observed humanity for 3 centuries, waiting for individuals who would notice us despite our concealment. You are the first to succeed. This achievement suggests your people may be ready for the next phase of galactic community integration. Are you ready to represent your species? In the first formal exchange between our civilizations, Elena stared at the screen, understanding finally washing over her. This wasn't an invasion or a secret government conspiracy. This was a test. The aliens had been waiting, watching, evaluating humanity's scientific progress and observational capabilities. They had hidden in plain sight, disguised as a star cluster, waiting for someone curious and persistent enough to see through their camouflage. Asterisk. The test had multiple components. Technical capability. Could humans develop instruments sophisticated enough to detect advanced camouflage? Intellectual curiosity. Would someone care enough about seemingly routine observations to investigate? Anomalies. Persistence. Would that person continue investigating despite skepticism from authority figures? Elena Rodriguez, a 16-year-old amateur astronomer, had just passed an examination she never knew she was taking. The stars outside the observation dome no longer looked distant and cold. They represented infinite possibilities, harbors for intelligence beyond human imagination. And somewhere among them, patient alien observers were waiting to see what humanity would do with this opportunity. The age of human isolation was ending, and it had begun with a girl who refused to accept easy explanations for the impossible. Things she saw in the night sky. Asterisk. The test humanity never knew it was taking. Lena stared at the alien message for nearly an hour, her mind spinning through the implications of what was being asked. Represent her species. She was just a teenager who happened to notice something others had missed. How could she possibly speak for all of humanity? But, as she sat in the quiet observation dome, watching, the disguised alien fleet maintained its perfect stellar masquerade, Elena realized something profound. The aliens hadn't chosen her randomly. They had been observing human behavior for centuries, waiting for someone who demonstrated the qualities they valued: scientific curiosity, persistent investigation despite authority figures dismissing her, findings, the ability to see patterns others missed. Elena activated the station's communication array and began composing a response. Her hands trembled slightly as she typed, knowing this message would make history. To the observers of Messier 47, I am Elena Rodriguez. I understand you have been testing our species' readiness for contact. I accept the responsibility to represent humanity in this first exchange, though I hope I prove worthy of your expectations. I have questions, if you're willing to provide answers. The response came within minutes. Your questions are welcome, Elena Rodriguez. Understanding is the foundation of peaceful cooperation between species. Ask what you wish to know. Alina took a deep breath and began typing her first question. How long have you been watching us, and why did you choose to hide rather than make open contact? The alien response was immediate and detailed. Our species, which you may call the Viridian Collective, has monitored human development for 347 of your years. We first detected your radio signals in your year 1676, though we had observed your planet's biosignature for millennia prior. We hide because premature contact often destroys developing civilizations. History teaches us that species unprepared for galactic reality frequently collapse under the psychological pressure of learning they are not alone. Alina felt a chill run through her. The implications were staggering. The aliens had been watching humanity since the late 17th century, observing their entire modern development. What determines when a species is ready for contact? Multiple factors, came the reply. Technological development sufficient to pose theoretical threats to established galactic civilizations. Social maturity evidenced by declining warfare and increasing cooperation. Most importantly, the presence of individuals who can perceive truth despite institutional resistance. You represent this final qualification, Alina Rodriguez. Alina realized she was participating in humanity's first formal diplomatic exchange. With an alien civilization, the weight of responsibility was overwhelming, but she forced herself to continue. You mentioned this is Phase 2. What was Phase 1? Phase 1 involved covert assessment of your governmental and military structures. Selected human leaders have been aware of our presence for approximately 50 years. However, your leaders chose to maintain secrecy, believing your general population unprepared for this knowledge. Phase 2 tests whether individuals outside governmental control can independently achieve contact. The revelation hit Alina like a physical blow. World governments had known about alien contact for half a century and had kept it secret from their own people. She thought about all the science fiction movies, the speculation about UFO sightings, the countless people who claimed to have seen evidence of extraterrestrial life. Some of them had been right all along, but they had been dismissed as conspiracy theorists and cranks. Why is individual contact important? Alina asked. Why not work only with our governments? The alien response revealed the sophisticated nature of their evaluation. Governments represent existing power structures and often resist change that threatens their authority. Individuals like you represent your species' potential for growth. Your persistent observation, despite official dismissal, demonstrates qualities essential for galactic citizenship: curiosity, independence of thought, and courage to investigate the unknown. Alina began to understand the alien perspective. They weren't just evaluating humanity's technology or military capability. They were assessing human character, looking for evidence that people could adapt to a larger universe without losing their essential nature. What happens now? Alina typed. What is Phase 3? Phase 3 depends entirely on your response, Alina Rodriguez. We offer your species 3 possibilities. First, we maintain the current arrangement, working only with your governments while the general population remains unaware. Second, we withdraw entirely, allowing humanity to develop without any external contact until you achieve interstellar capability independently. Third, we begin gradual disclosure through individuals like you, slowly preparing your species for full galactic community integration. Alina realized she was being asked to make a choice that would affect all of human history. The aliens were giving her, a 16-year-old amateur astronomer, the power to determine how first contact would proceed. She thought about her parents, working to transform Mars into a habitable world. She thought about her friends back on Earth, studying for college entrance exams, worried about ordinary teenage problems. She thought about the billions of people across the solar system who had no idea their universe was about to change forever. "May I ask what you recommend?" Alina typed. "You've been observing us for centuries. What do you think is best for my spec, *IES? The alien response carried an almost warm tone. "Your question demonstrates wisdom, Alina Rodriguez. We recommend the third option. Gradual disclosure through individuals who demonstrate readiness, eventually expanding to include your scientific communities, then your general population. This approach minimizes psychological trauma while maximizing your species' potential for successful integration." Alina spent the next hour learning about the Viridian Collective. They were a coalition of 17 different species that had achieved peaceful coexistence across multiple star systems. Their technology was advanced beyond human understanding, but they had learned through bitter experience that technological superiority meant nothing without wisdom and emotional maturity. "We have seen species destroy themselves with gifts they were not ready to receive," the aliens explained. "We have also seen species flourish when given time to grow into their potential. Humanity shows promise, but you need guidance, not domination." As dawn approached on Mars, Alina made her decision. "I accept the responsibility to help with gradual disclosure, but I have conditions. First, no secrecy from Earth's scientific community. Researchers like my mother and Dr. Fletcher need to be included immediately. Second, any human who demonstrates readiness should be given the opportunity to participate. Third, humanity must maintain our independence. We want partnership, not assimilation." The alien response came quickly. "Your conditions are acceptable and demonstrate the independence of thought we value. Alina Rodriguez, you have successfully completed humanity's first contact assessment. Your species has passed our evaluation. We welcome humanity to the galactic community, with you as our first official ambassador." Alina sat back in her chair, overwhelmed by what had just transpired. In the space of a few hours, she had gone from being a dismissed teenager with impossible observations to becoming humanity's first alien ambassador. Her tablet chimed with a final message. "Alina Rodriguez, tomorrow night. Return to this observation dome. We will provide your first formal diplomatic briefing and the tools you will need to begin preparing select members of your species for expanded contact. The universe is vast and filled with wonders your people can barely imagine. We look forward to showing you what lies among the stars." Alina looked out at the disguised alien fleet, no longer seeing distant points of light, but recognizing them as harbors of intelligence, wisdom, and possibility. The test was over. Humanity had passed, and the real adventure was just beginning. She had tracked what appeared to be passing stars, noticed their impossible behavior, and discovered a hidden truth that would change everything. The aliens had been right to wait for someone like her, someone curious enough to investigate the impossible, someone persistent enough to continue despite being told she was wrong, someone brave enough to make contact when the opportunity arose. The age of human isolation was ending, and Alina Rodriguez, amateur astronomer and humanity's first alien ambassador, would help guide her species into a larger universe filled with infinite possibilities. Outside the observation dome, the hidden alien fleet maintained their perfect camouflage, waiting patiently for humanity to take its first steps toward the stars. The silent watchers had completed their centuries-long vigil. Now the real work of building a galactic civilization could begin. Asterisk.